Good morning, good morning. Well, good afternoon where I am, in fact. This is Amma Manson. First Pick Tours with Amma Manson is the name of the channel. Can you subscribe, please? Can you share this message? This is my contribution to national agenda, national development in the build-up to the 2020 milestone. I would like to start today with a simple rendition of Shakespeare's speech. So this is an adaptation of Shakespeare's. It's from Julius Caesar. It is a speech supposed to be said by Mark Antony. I am not going to read the original. I am going to give you my rendition of the speech. Friends, Ghanaian countrymen, lend me your ears. I have come to bury propaganda, not to praise him. I wanted to start today's broadcast just from this here. Let me say it again. Friends, Ghanaian countrymen, lend me your ears. I have come to bury propaganda, not to praise it. In Ghana, our politics is full of propaganda. A lot of it belittles the intelligence of the average Ghanaian. What is heartbreaking is the fact that it's actually quite effective. It works. And it works because the masses don't necessarily understand the core principles of the agenda that people trick them with propaganda. One of the things I want to talk to you about today is the free education policy and why countries invest in free education. So in major countries in the West, up until 16, education is completely free. What that actually means is that tuition is free. Logistics are free. Parents might buy an exercise book or two, but that's about it. School uniforms are not free. School uniforms, in the most part, are bought. And if it is a problem, then other social intervention policies tend to kick in to support. But parents provide accommodation, parents provide transport, parents feed the kids, and the government provides the free education. It is a partnership between home and government. Now, it is unfortunate that sometimes when some of these things are shared with people at home, people take it home, education should be free. Yes, it should be. But we also need to explain how free education really is. I am an advocate of the free SHS policy. I am somebody who champions it because I really believe that is redemption for a lot of young people. It is going to be the reason why a lot of brilliant young people will make it into secondary schools, and potentially from their good results in secondary schools, they will find philanthropists, organizations which will support them in the tertiary education. It will allow Ghana to tap into these resources that we cannot afford to let go waste. Obviously, we want to tap into the resources. We also need to look at the reasons why we cannot allow the resources to go waste. When a vibrant young person's talent is not harnessed, that person becomes disenfranchised. They become disillusioned. They try, it doesn't work, and usually they go to crime. Or they go to other things which might be considered as social vices. It makes society difficult for the rest of the participants. And so, in the interest of the rest of the participants, it's actually better to redeem those people before they become a problem. And education is one of the easiest ways to address this problem. So it is a wonderful, wonderful idea, regardless of where you stand on the political divide. People who are on the fence like I am need to acknowledge the fact that it is wonderful. People who have a political agenda also, being reasonably intelligent people, also need to acknowledge the goods of it, regardless of your political affiliation. But also, regardless of the political affiliation, we also need to be honest about the implementation problems that we have with the policy. Let me underline quite a few. One of the first things that I think of when we look at the difficulties with maintaining the policy is maintaining free education, including boarding. Ghana as a country does not have the resources. Even the West is not able to provide board on top of the free education. The people who have the bigger budgets cannot maintain it. How much more us? We need to strip down to free education being free tuition. A lot of those kids whose parents want them to go for boarding alongside need to bear the cost of the boarding. The tuition fee is free, but the boarding cost should not be free. Parents are responsible for feeding their kids. and for providing accommodation. And if they want it to be done by an institution, they have to be willing to fork out to make that happen. 2, in every society, there tends to be schools that are specialist schools, schools that are Ivy League schools, schools that are the creme de la creme. And I don't think those schools in Ghana should be 100% free SHS. There are people in Ghana who are capable of paying, and they should pay. There are people who want to pay, and they should be allowed to pay. And then the majority of the population which is incapable of paying for tuition or unwilling to pay for tuition for whatever reason can access the day school system on the free SHS policy. If you want your child to access boarding facilities on top of the free tuition, then you dip your hands in your pocket and you maintain it. Why is that important? It is important for longevity. The government is running out of money. Actually, it is money the government never had anyway. They are doing everything they can to honor a campaign promise, and that's something I actually do respect. When somebody says something and they take actions, proactive steps to try and make it happen, I respect it. Has it been smooth implementation? No, it hasn't been. Has it been the best implementation? No, it hasn't been. It requires all stakeholders to contribute ideas so we can streamline it and allow the policy to develop longevity. The policy needs to be self-sustaining. The policy needs to find creative ways of bringing revenue in from other investments which allow funding of the policy to be maintained. It needs to become autonomous so that regardless of who is in power at the time and where their priorities lie, if it is an autonomous system for education, then it will be sustainable. It is very important for every single Ghanaian because if you are not in Ghana, you have family members who live in Ghana. We all do go to Ghana sometimes for holidays. When we are looking for workforce, we need educated, skilled workforce. If nothing at all, it will reduce the illiteracy rates in Ghana. We have many of our problems in Ghana, lack of comprehension, which is usually from illiteracy. People are able to deceive the masses. Propaganda works in Ghana because people don't understand policies. The manifestos people put out and the explanations they give on social media don't necessarily match, but the average Ghanaian doesn't seem to cross-reference. It is only when a government comes to power that you challenge them on something they said on a radio station and they will refer you to the manifesto. When you take your time to read the manifesto, it clearly didn't say what was advertised on the radio station for people to buy into. So it becomes my job to educate slowly. If I do my little bit and you've translated into the local languages and you propagate the message, from now up until the time we need to make another major decisions, a few more Ghanaians will be a little bit more aware of the actual important national agenda issues. The national agenda issues are very simple. Number one for me, because I am coming from the education background, is education. We need to look at our education system in Ghana from the top to the bottom. We need to look at the curriculum. We need to make the curriculum relevant. We need to make sure the curriculum is competitive. The children we are training in Ghana are able to seamlessly travel other places and integrate into education systems, and to come from other places and integrate into Ghana education systems without any disruption. That we need to work on. We definitely need to look at the science, technology, engineering, and math agenda, because that is the agenda for the 21st century for all other countries which are looking for development. We need to look at our roads. You don't need to say any more about it. The state of our roads is atrocious. It is embarrassing. It is ridiculous that we have those kind of roads in Ghana with the resources we've had, with the manpower we have, with the vehicles we drive on these very roads. We are losing lives of vibrant Ghanaians who could make meaningful contributions to the economy unnecessarily in road accidents. But what actually annoys me the most is the fact that we buy these expensive cars, we put them on these ridiculous roads. The longevity of the car is reduced, the value of the car is not maintained. We are bleeding the economy to buy new cars because the state of the roads is unacceptable. It is ridiculous that you will drive high-end, high-range, expensive cars when you don't have expensive roads. when you do not have well-maintained roads, when you don't have fit-for-purpose roads, and that is where the priority is. What is going to happen to our roads? Apart from the roads, we need to look at other transport infrastructure. It is delightful to hear that finally there are murmurs about trains in Ghana, because we need it. Business people need to be able to travel from Accra to Tamale without having to worry about driving. People need to be able to get on the train with their laptops in their laps and work whilst they are traveling. People need to be productive whilst they are commuting, and the trains would definitely be a good step in the right direction. It would be lovely to see competition in the aviation. But even better, I've always said this, and I will say this right here again, we do need a national carrier. We need an airline, a Ghanaian airline. For those of you who travel and those who don't travel, we still need it for various reasons. When you have a national carrier, the national carrier is the price determinant for the price on the route. All other carriers need to match you in order to compete. And in doing that, you allow your nationals to travel at a competitive rate. At the moment in Ghana, we don't have a national carrier. Others determine how much they want to charge. Emirates dominates the Dubai to Ghana route. There is no competition. They can charge whatever they like. You have no alternative than to pay. You want to come to Dubai, you better be paying. Or then you go via Ethiopia or you go via Rwanda and you spend hours and hours in the airport before you get here. So it is the only viable option for people in a hurry, and they know that, and they make us pay premium for it. That's the reason why we've seen British Airways turn up to Ghana, to the Ghanaian route, with bedbug-infested aircrafts. It is an insult to the Ghanaian population. It's an insult to us as people that an airline operator is able to bring crafts of that nature to our country, but we can't boycott it because we don't have a lot of other options. Very disgraceful. We will look at other priorities, but this was an introduction to the national agenda. I call this the destruction of propaganda, because I will take my time in this series to pick individual policies. I will explain the state as it currently is. I will tell you what I understand of the next steps, so people understand. When people come to you asking for your vote in 2020, I need you to be informed. I need you to be aware. I need you to know what is important. What is important is not what people make noise about in Ghana. One district, one factory is wonderful, but one electricity, one home should come first. One this, one that is good, but is it all the one this, one that which will actually stimulate the economy the way we need it? Do we need division of our regions as a priority? We are getting surprised by National Cathedral because we did not ask questions about the whole agenda before we voted. And that is on one side. Sometimes you will do these broadcasts and you will get the other side, yes, tell them. No, I'm not telling them anything. Don't get me started on your own, because I have questions to ask you about the economy. I have questions to ask you about lending, borrowing. I have questions to ask you about monies which were taken in the name of Ghana which never did a thing. I have questions about developments which happened under your stewardship, which was substandard. So please, don't get me started. I am teaching national agenda. I am not teaching political agenda. I am teaching people to understand our priorities so that their choices next time are wiser. I am not on anybody's side. I stand on the side of Ghana. I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. That is the only anthem I sing. God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I hope you will support this agenda. I hope you will propagate the message and help us reach the masses, because we sure have work to do, loads of work to do. Until next time, thank you very much for your time.